Hey YouTube, Kilroy back in the shop for a quick shop update. I guess you call this a shop ADHD, a little bit of everything. Been a hectic 4 weeks. I'll go ahead and tell you, one of the craziest 4 weeks in my life. So my son was attacked by a pit bull. He's fine. Everybody chill. He was attacked. He's 11 years old. He's my youngest child. Like any parent, you know, love him beyond comprehension. But he was attacked by a pit bull. He had one pretty nasty bite in the inside of his thigh. He had a bite right here. He had a very small puncture wound in his hand. As far as pit bull attacks go, not too bad. He's doing fine. He's recovering well. He's kind of afraid of dogs, as you might expect, but doing well. Shortly after that, we went on a Boy Scout event and he got a tick bite and got Rocky Mountain spotted fever. You know, and he's doing well with that. And then a few days back, he broke his leg in the gym at school. So this has been my month, and I'm saying something about it. Obviously, my son is bearing this even better than I am. There's, you know, something about, I was in the front yard when it happened, when my son was attacked, and there's something about witnessing something like that that changes your perspective. Nothing I want to go through again, and nothing that I want to see any other parent have to endure. I'm just glad I was in the front yard and was able to draw this to a close quickly. The owners of the dog were great, apologetic, did everything they could. The dog had had his shots, there's no rabies risk. So in general, still just a bad thing to go through, have to watch. But Thomas is doing great. He's a tough kid, and he's enduring, you know. He's bouncing back the way 11-year-olds do, eating me out of house and home. Anyway, I'm in the shop, in and out. I've been traveling for work. It's end of the fiscal year. It's crazy. It's hot. It's summertime. Just got a lot going on. But to bring this back to the shop, I got a shop gift from a viewer, and I've been owing him a video for a while. It's a shop gift that I really appreciate, that's going to really add a lot of value here in the shop, and it's something, boy, I really could use. So it's on the mill, it's on the clone. I'm going to rearrange the camera and I'm going to show you what I got, and then we're going to go from there. So be right with you. All right, so here we are at the mill, and here you can see it right here. This is a, I guess you'd say, a mill quill wheel. These are produced by a gentleman by the name of Enos at Tangent Engineering. He sent these out to quite a few YouTubers, and he sent one to me to test and try out. And I gotta say, this is what I was using, right? The typical little handle, up, you know. And I'd seen these on some other channels, and I'm going to post some links to some of these other channels so you can get some other reviews of the product rather than just myself. But I hope you take my recommendation here to heart. It is going to be very, this is really kind of nice. So, you know, it works out quite well here. And, you know, kind of like almost like having one of those old speed wheels that handles on there. You know, so if you're in the middle of a cut and you need to readjust, you don't have to take your hand off the wheel, right? So it's pretty nice. Gives you a nice grip. It's got a good thick rim. It's a nice heavy rubber, and you can get a really good grip on it. You can also get a handle up in here on a spoke too if you really need to pull on it. But anyway, it fits great. It has a quick release right here with a thumb screw where you can just pull it off the machine if it gets in the way. The only places where I could think that this would really get in the way well, obviously if you had a oversized workpiece or a unusually shaped workpiece, certainly could get in the way. But if you were tilting the head, right, this could conceivably get in the way. Not so much for me. I've got 2 risers on my mill here, so it's way up, right? Most folks with Bridgeport clones don't have this kind of, you know, airspace between a vise, the top of a vise, and a drill chuck, right? So a riser is one of the best things you can add to your mill, period, right? It's a whole lot easier to build a workpiece up, to mount a workpiece, than it is to not be able to fit a workpiece, right? So a riser is a fantastic addition to any mill. So I really don't see it being a huge issue for me at all. If I have a big workpiece, I go to the Kearney Trekker. This is really going to be a very nice addition for just the typical work that I do on my mill. Now, I got to give Jim some credit here because my mill is non-standard. It's a Herco Bridgeport clone. The head is very similar to what I thought was similar to a Kondia mill, which is I believe is a Spanish-produced tool. I believe these were also sold under other brand names. It's not really standard, so it's a big table. It's a 54. It's a 55-inch table. It's like 12 inches wide, and it has ball screws, but it's not a CNC machine. Nothing standard about it. So the first wheel that Jim sent me didn't fit. He basically said, he said, measure the snout dimension. So I measured the snout dimension. I sent it to him. I said, it looks like your clone wheel will fit. Well, that wasn't it. So the pin, the actual diameter of the drive pins that engage the wheel is actually slightly larger, and the pinholes were slightly smaller than the existing holes. So a Bridgeport or a Bridgeport clone, typical clone, did not work for my machine. If you have a Bridgeport, you can get in touch with Jim. You can order one of these, you're good. If you have a machine that you know is a Bridgeport clone, 9x42 machine, everything's a copy, right? Then you can contact Jim. You got no issues. If you think you have any issue with fitment, anything's unusual about your machine, I know Jim's already done, I think Jim's done Excellos, I think he's done Webs, he's done several types of mills. So now he's done Hercos. So if you think you have any issue, contact Jim, and Jim will work with you to get a unit that fits. Basically what he's doing is modifying this hub here, right, that the wheel mounts to. So it's extremely well made. It does not add any additional kick out here compared to the original handle. Actually, it's less, because the original handle actually has more bend to it, and the ball that goes on here actually sticks out farther. So it's actually a little tighter up into the head. It's very unobtrusive. You don't think about it. It doesn't get in the way, and it's well made. So I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. I don't know what Jim is selling these for. Jim gave this unit to me for a run through and a test fit and feedback, and this is what I'm providing him right now is feedback. I honestly don't see any real downsides to this whatsoever. Like I said, unless you're a person that tilts the head a lot at heavy-duty angles, you have very little headroom between the table and your quill, I don't see this getting in the way. So, Jim, thank you very much. It's going to be a very welcome addition, and hopefully I can put it to use here soon. Still got the craziness going on at home. If you saw the last video working on the door, before we go here, I'm going to show a shot of the interior of the door. A lot of people asked, well, what's the inside of the door look like, right? So I'm going to show you. I haven't taken it down yet, like I've had time to do that. But I'm going to show you what the interior of the door looks like. And we'll go over that right before we bow out of this video. But anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for being patient with me. Just craziness going on right now. And we're going to get back on the Tom Lipton Rod Bender project. I got to finish that up. And then we got projects to move on to, projects I want to be working on. I did go, as y'all might have seen, I went to Windy Hill Foundry, met with Clarke Easterling, links below, links all around. Went with Gary Cude, good friend of mine, who I met at I think the first bash, maybe the second bash I went to. Gary and I become friends. Gary's a super nice guy, has a great channel also. And so I'll put links down below, links up above, links to everybody's channels, and so you can check out Gary's channel and Clarke's channel. But we did some iron casting. That's hot. I mean, I've done a little bit of bronze casting, a little bit, very little bit, and I've done aluminum casting, and I thought that was hot. I didn't have any idea. And it was unbelievably hot, but it was an enjoyable time. Clarke is a gracious host, and Clarke's sister-in-law, who we met, his father, we met a bunch of the family. Clarke lives on a beautiful piece of property there, and knows a lot of people there. His family's been in that area since the days of the Spanish land grants, so they have a lot of history, and we had a great time. And we just had a really good time. I learned a lot from Clarke. It's obvious Clarke knows what he's doing. It's obvious he's been doing this a long time, and he's really worked out the issues with doing iron casting. He told me, he said flat up, he said at the point that he started doing aluminum, from the time that he could do aluminum casting, from the time that he started trying to do iron, it was 2.5 years for him to get to where he was comfortable with iron casting. We did some castings. Y'all have probably all seen the videos. I'll leave links to the video. For a 5-inch shaper vise for Gary. 2 patterns there were poured. One fairly large pattern, about 40 pounds. One smaller pattern that poured about 12 pounds. The finish was great. The patterns poured great. The finish was fantastic. Clarke really does have it together when it comes to getting, I mean, it looks almost like a die cast finish coming out, and this is coming out of a green sand, right? All right, don't know what happened to my video there, but I was commenting on the quality of Clarke's castings. Are beautiful, fantastic finish. And here's the door. So you've been looking at it for a while. You can just see a piece of the arch on the side here. So all that's coming down, and all that rail up there is coming down. All this is coming out. I maybe do a time lapse on that. Set a camera over here and then just take some time lapse photos as I do it. It's obviously not really so much shop related work. It's work on the shop. And so anyway, we're going to get that cleaned out. The concrete here under the door has some slope to it, so I'm considering jackhammering that up and taking the slope out of that, flattening it out, because it's not really usable. I can't really put things over there, so we'll see anyway. So that's what's going on. A lot of personal issues, a lot of family issues, you know, with dealing with all these things that are happening, right? I mean, doctors, hospitals, police, you name it, all the people you don't want to deal with, right? I mean, not that I have any problems with them, but you don't want them till you need them. And anyway, I wanted to get this video out for Jim, because Jim's been very accommodating. in working out this issue with this fitment on my mill, which is unusual. So like I said, if you have a standard Bridgeport machine or a machine that's really a known quantity, fine. If you have one of these Kondia mills, or also known as clausing mills, they sold them, or Hercos, you might want to take some measurements. If you think that the snout on the spindle handle has been modified, might want to look at that. Contact Jim. Jim can work it out for you, right? And you can get one of these for your own machine, and I think you'll really appreciate it. Like I said, we're going to try to get back on some of these projects here, namely the Tom Lipton rod bender. That really needs to get done. I did try to get on the pacemaker gear. A lot of people have been asking about that. Here it is. You see I got a drive dog hooked up to the axle here. I don't want to take these bearings off. This bearing is not replaceable. They don't make these anymore. This one they do, the little one they don't. Anyway, I set it up, and then I found out this one little issue. I got this drive dog. This is the center for my machine. No worky. This drive dog plate is for a Monarch 10EE, which is a 5C nose. This has a 6R nose, which is a lot bigger collet. So I need to modify this thing, or just either I need to modify this, or I just need to make a new one. So working on that. Anyway, that's a quick catch up. Again, look down below for tons of links to everything we've discussed here very quickly. And for those of you going to go to the land, look forward to seeing you there. If you're thinking about that, if you're in the area, you should think about going to the Soulé Foundry in Meridian, Mississippi on November the 2nd. And if you're at those two places, I'll see you there. And be safe in the shop, and I'll be back with you soon.